Happy Labor Day. Good morning and welcome to the May Day edition of GHOne on GHOne TV. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng, making the headlines this broadcast. Organized Labour urges President to hasten slowly and cautiously about CJ's suspension amid debates over constitutionality of the move. We do some politics where former MPP flag bearer aspirant Dr. Arthur Kennedy calls for the suspension of the MPP thank you tour amid violence and internal tensions. More on national developments as government appeals to residents in road construction areas to accept compensation for affected properties for ongoing works. Business will tell you more as Ghana taps tech to deliver essential to persons living in remote areas. We've got the details of these stories and many others coming up shortly. Do stay with us and this entire 60 minutes broadcast. Welcome once again to GHOne on GHOne TV. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Well, as part of May Day celebrations, as has been evidenced in times past, there is a celebration that is currently ongoing on at the Blaster Square in Accra, where the president currently is addressing persons at a particular parade. We cross over shortly to listen to the president.
It is only recently we undertook major reform in our pension administration, introducing different tiers in our pension payment scheme. And yet, as Comrade Joshua Ansah has rightly stated, there are severe distortions and inequality in our pension system. I will initiate a preliminary discussion with stakeholders through a mutually selected ad hoc committee to make proposals on how the current challenges of the pension system can be addressed. And the organized labor will be fully engaged in this committee. In partnership with labor unions and employers, we will deepen skills development and retraining programs so that workers can adapt to the changing needs of industry. Our well-developed and so must our workforce. No Ghanaian will be left behind in the new economy we are building. Comrades and friends, many of you work in state-owned enterprises that have been atrociously managed over the last 8 years. I urge you not to keep quiet. When management is driving your enterprise into ruin, you are always the first to be affected by job losses when these institutions collapse. Your enterprise where you work belongs to you. They guarantee you lifelong employment, and so you must protect those enterprises. When things are going wrong, do not be afraid to say so. And as president, I will back and support you to set things right. Today we celebrate the sacrifices of workers in Ghana and around the globe. And we had a conference with SIGA. And we're giving the debt position of state-owned enterprises. And almost all of them are in debt. Even companies like GHOne distilleries, where when I was president, they used to pay a little dividend to government. Today, they also owe. And the question I ask is, how can you sell alcohol and be in debt? When Ghanaians are happy, we drink alcohol. When we are sad, we drink. When we are not happy, we are not sad, we drink. So how can you sell alcohol and lose? And so we are charging the management of state-owned enterprises and the workers. Let us work together to make sure that we make these institutions viable, because those institutions belong to all of us. My brothers and sisters, there are millions more of working age who desire to join the workforce, but they are hindered due to the lack of openings and opportunities. We've long been aware that the youth bulge poses a significant risk to our stability as a nation. It is for this reason why in the last few weeks, I have launched various flagship job creation interventions that are aimed at offering our teeming unemployed youth avenues for sustainable employment. In the period under reference, I have launched the 1 Million Coders program, which has elicited interest from close to 150,000 applicants up to date. This is an initiative that will equip our youth with world-class coding and digital skills in today's rapidly changing world. I also launched the GHOne initiative last Monday, which aims to facilitate the creation of 10,000 new businesses every year for young people, with a special focus on empowering our youth for the job market. This initiative is expected to create at least 20,000 decent jobs annually. And only today, I launched the National Apprenticeship Program, which targets to train about 500,000 youth over 5 years with artisanal skills. These initiatives are not isolated interventions. They are interconnected pillars of a broader vision to build a resilient, inclusive, and future-ready Ghanaian economy. An economy that is not only recovering, but one that will thrive, innovate, and lead us to prosperity. Through increased investment in technical and vocational education, through support for continuous professional development, and through better alignment between education and the labor market, we will equip our people with the tools that they need, not just to survive, but to thrive. This administration is committed to decentralizing opportunity. It should not be the case that the only real chance at prosperity exists if you live in Accra or Kumasi. We will work to bring investment, jobs, and infrastructure to every region of this country, so that every Ghanaian worker, from Wa to Aflao, from Bole to Keta, from Drobo to Enchi, can have a fair and equal shot at building a meaningful life for themselves. Our national reset agenda cannot succeed without labor at the table. And that is why I will strengthen the institutional relationship between government and organized labor through regular structured dialogue. The Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations will not operate as an isolated entity, but as an active convener of tripartite collaboration where government, business, and labor will meet regularly to assess progress, to address grievances, and shape policies that work for everyone. This is not just about consultation, it is about co-ownership of the national development agenda. The Ministry of Labor, your ministry, may not have gotten all the resources it requested to carry out its mandate this year, but I can assure you that it affects every ministry, and it is only a temporary measure to reset our economic fortunes. Next year, things will be much better. The fight against Galamsey is a complex one. And when I was vying for the presidency, I did not kid myself that when I come into office, I will win that fight in 4 months. Yet, we will not give up. Our gallant men of the armed forces and security services are up to the fight and will continue to score successes against the selfish companies and individuals who are destroying our forests and polluting our water bodies. As far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned, I say aluta continua. Ladies and gentlemen, the ECG has been brought to its knees by a culture of poor governance over the last 8 years, with a debt of 68 billion Ghana cedis and rising. If we do not do something drastic, our whole power sector will collapse. We can only bring down power tariffs if we improve efficiency in the distribution of power. Let me assure you, that is not my intention to privatize the ECG as an institution. Our attention is more a public-private collaboration to inject efficiency into our downstream electricity distribution system. And I must say, it will not be the first time. It's been done before. When I was president, in the free zones, a private company, Enclave Power, was giving the rights of metering and billing in the free zones. Electricity company provided them with bulk supply of power. They paid electricity company until today. They still pay electricity company monthly on time every power electricity company produces to them. And their billing and collection in the free zones enclave is 99% of revenue is collected. This is an existing example, and I'm sure that we can make our electricity distribution more efficient through public-private partnerships. But I can assure you, and read my lips for emphasis, electricity company as an institution will not be privatized. Fellow citizens, let me say this clearly to all Ghanaian workers. Whether you're a teacher in the classroom, whether you're a nurse in a rural chips compound, whether you're a porter in the market, whether you're a miner deep in the bowels of the earth, whether you're a security guard on night shift, a digital innovator writing codes from your laptop, I want to tell all Ghanaian workers that you matter. Your contribution matters, and your dreams matter to us. And under my government, we will make sure that those dreams are realized. Let us leave this May Day not only with hope in our work, but with purpose in our hearts. Let us move forward as one people, workers and government, unions and employers, public and private, united in our mission to build a Ghana that rewards our efforts, protects our people, and inspires the next generation. The work ahead is great, but so is the strength of the Ghanaian worker. And with that strength, there is nothing we cannot achieve. May God bless Ghanaian workers. Long live organized labor. Long live the Republic of Ghana. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Boy. Joe boy, let's give the president a thunderous clap with a big shout. Joe boy! What for a year?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for assuring us that the
to march in a show of unity and strength. We are honored to...
So just gone by was President John Dramani Mahama there making his statements on the celebration of labor and organized labor today. A number of items from his particular speech delivered just a short while ago. Quite topical among them is that he says that he didn't believe and he never said that indeed the Galamsey fight will be won in the first 4 months of his governance. But for him, it is a luta continua. They know the fight is tough, but they would ensure that he fights Galamsey and deals with a nippet in the bud as well. He's assured that indeed ECG will not be privatized. That is what the president has said. ECG will not be privatized. But indeed, he also mentioned indeed that for ECG, it's important that we cut distribution losses. The bill and the debt for ECG is quite enormous, and it spans across a number of state-owned enterprises. So he is calling, indeed, for persons who work within state-owned enterprises to ensure that we minimize losses, to ensure that all of them are running effectively. As well, President John Dramani Mahama has urged all workers, and all workers, I mean all workers, wherever you may be finding yourself, he says, no matter what, the government has you as at. And so this is the message from the president. Indeed, but quite a takeaway for people would be the matter of ECG, cutting government losses, and as well the issue of Galamsey fight, where he says that indeed it is a luta continua for him. He says that the fight, as long as it is in this particular state, he is concerned as president and will ensure that they fight it and ensure that all persons who are found complicit in this particular menace will be dealt with accordingly. Still on the May Day celebrations, the Trade Union Congress has decried what they term as the deteriorating pay and working conditions of workers in Ghana. Now, they have called for an urgent reset to liberate the Ghanaian worker.
Excellency, our pay and working conditions are deteriorating. The wage situation in Ghana has gotten worse since you were last in government. Wage levels are low when compared to the prevailing cost of living. The inflation surge of the last 4 years has led to trend decline in real wages. And wages inequalities has widened across the public and private sectors. Your Excellency, the national pension system isn't working well for workers. Again, we are confronted with low pensions and inequalities in pension. The minimum monthly pension is 396 Ghana cedis, 58 pesos, while the highest monthly pension is 201,792 Ghana cedis, 73 pesos. This is not the outcome workers envisage under the three-tier pension scheme.
Organized labor is also demanding reforms of the Social Security and the National Insurance Trust, SNIT, while urging government to increase budgetary allocation to the Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment. They also decried what they term indiscriminate termination of appointments in the public sector and called on the president to intervene in reinstating some 3 workers of Sanan Asogli. He admits the energy sector needs reforms but opposes the privatization of ECG. The president says, indeed, it will not happen.
Mr. President, organized labor is very unhappy with the growing government influence over management of SNIT. We need a reset of minds when it comes to SNIT and the funds of management. Government must know that SNIT funds have greater say in the management of those funds. In a resetting mode, organized labor demands reform of SNIT and majority membership of the board to have a greater say in the appointment of board chairpersons and director general. Your Excellency, we cannot fully exhaust discussions on pay and working conditions without talking about the governance of our labor market and workplaces. Mr. President, in the last few years, workers of Ghana have faced serious assaults on their constitutional right to form or join a trade union. In the face of deteriorating standards, workers who mustered the courage to join or form trade unions face victimization from unscrupulous employers. Mr. President, foreign-owned companies are among the worst culprits of this creeping intolerance of workers who desire to join unions. A shining example of these abuses is the dismissal of 3 workers of Sanan Asogli, who merely opted to join the Ghana Mine Workers Union. This is a matter we want you, Mr. President, to intervene to get the 3 workers back to work.
Well, the president has announced that there will be a major review of the pension scheme to ensure that it benefits workers across the country. But still on labor, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, has vowed to oppose any attempt to interfere with the integrity of the civil service and local government service by political entities. They believe such interferences jeopardize the fundamental principles of efficiency, fairness, and neutrality upon which these services are built. The declaration comes in response to mounting apprehensions expressed by CLOGSAG regarding the intrusion of partisan activities into the operations of these vital public sectors. Addressing the media at a Thanksgiving May Day celebration, Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, Isaac Bambuado, urged all members to stand firm against attempts to politicize their work.
On this day, May Day 2025, CLOSAC is dissatisfied and dismayed at the tactics of dislodging and crippling of the civil service and the local government service through political means. CLOSAC would wish to call on government to put measures to halt this practice of ignoring and disregarding existing tenets and procedures in the services. For CLOSAC, we stand for a revitalized civil service to regain its past glory. The local government service should not be entangled with political interference that will stifle its progress. Article 284 of the Constitution of Ghana states as follows: a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interests conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office. The neutrality of the public officer is key in fostering the principle of anonymity, neutrality, permanence in the public services. CLOSAC is calling on the Minister of Employment, as a matter of urgency, to immediately convene a National Tripartite Committee to discuss this pressing national issue.
Well, an indefinite strike action has been declared by the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology chapter of the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana. For 3 years, TEWU Ghana has been demanding recognition after it joined colleagues in all public universities to break away from the Teachers and Education Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress, TEWU TUC. The union has angered the Ghana Tertiary Education Council, GTEC, favors a TEWU TUC nominee to represent them on the University Governing Council against a majority decision. KNUST chairman of TEWU Ghana, Charles Arthur, has been leading hundreds of his members in a news conference.
We are baffled that GTEC, a regulatory body whose mandate includes promoting equity, quality and fairness in tertiary education governance, would involve itself in such an unwarranted and illegitimate decision. This is not just about KNUST. It sets a dangerous precedent for all public universities in Ghana and risks escalating unnecessary tensions on campuses. The voice of the majority cannot be sidelined by administrative bias of Professor Emmanuel Agyabeng, the Director General of GTEC. We therefore demand the following: immediate withdrawal of TEWU TUC's appointment as the workers' representative on the KNUST Governing Council. 2, immediate recognition of TEWU Ghana as the rightful and majority union to represent workers' interests on the council. 3, a clear and transparent process from GTEC in dealing with union representation going forward with respect for democratic union choice. We call on the President, the Chief of Staff, Minister of Education and all stakeholders to take urgent interest in this matter and help restore fairness and due process to tertiary education governance. We once again call on the Director General of GTEC, Professor Ahmed Agyabeng, to immediately reverse this unjust decision and restore TEWU Ghana, KNUST local's rightful place on the KNUST Governing Council. Ladies and gentlemen, until and unless Director General of GTEC reverses this unjust decision, TEWU Ghana, KNUST local hereby declare an indefinite strike effective today, Wednesday, 30th April 2025.
You're still watching Newsroom on GHOne TV. After this break, we have more news for you. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is still Newsroom on GHOne TV. President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 7 justices from the Court of Appeal for possible elevation to the Supreme Court of Ghana in accordance with Article 144, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution. The nominations were in a letter dated April 29, 2025 and signed by Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama. The nominees will be vetted by the Judicial Council before being forwarded to Parliament for approval. The 7 nominated justices are: number 1, Justice Sir Dennis Dominic J, Justice Gail Simon Sulbare, Justice Senyo Jamefe, Justice Kwekuteria Akabuafo, Justice Philip Bright Mensa, Justice Janapare Battels Kojo, and then Justice Hafisata Amale Boba. Well, Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayenne has revealed more shocking details of how Ghana Water Limited, now illegally paid millions of Ghana cedis monthly to a private company owned by former National Signals Bureau Director General, that is in the person of Kwabena Edubuahenen, and this particular payment was made in respect for internet services. At a press conference on Wednesday, the Attorney General detailed how the GWL was systematically defrauded to the tune of 62 million Ghana cedis through an elaborate scheme involving the NSB's former director.
Our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Edubuahenen, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract documents showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kwabena Edubuahenen provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kwabena Edubuahenen and his wife.
Let's do some politics now. Former flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Arthur Kobina Kennedy, has called for the suspension of the party's Thank You tour. His concerns arise from rising tensions during the tour, which has been marred by internal accusations and blame shifting. The situation escalated at the Ashanti region stop, where a student from the University of Science and Technology was stabbed reportedly during a confrontation with a group of unidentified men. This violent incident led former Assin Central MP Kennedy Agyabeng to withdraw from the tour, citing safety concerns. Dr. Kennedy argues that continuing the tour under such strained conditions is counterproductive and urges the party to pause and address the underlying conflicts before resuming.
This message is particularly directed to the MPP family. I have watched with increasing concern the national Thank You tour that has gotten off the rails. There have been reported slaps, there have been casting of aspersions against people, including the former president, and now there have been a stabbing. Rightly, Honorable Kennedy Agyabeng had decided to pull out of the Thank You tour so that, in his words, it can go on and prevent the violence. I believe more needs to be done. Respectfully, I appeal to the National Executive Committee and the leadership of the party to suspend the thank you tour. It is not enough to let Dr. Bawumia continue alone, and it will be a major mistake for national leaders after what happened to continue to follow Dr. Bawumia on such a tour. The right thing to do would be to suspend this thank you tour.
Let's get back to the May Day celebrations, and many Ghanaians are today marking May Day, also known as International Workers' Day. This day has been set aside to honor the hard work and sacrifices of workers. Both formal and informal sector workers are using the day to reflect on their rights, working conditions, and the challenges they face. Some told us the market is very slow, making it difficult to meet their daily needs, whereas others are calling on government to dedicate more days like this to engage with workers and implement policies that truly address their concerns. Let's tell you and show you now what happened when we hit the streets to find out what the day really means to ordinary Ghanaians and whether they feel seen, heard, and appreciated.
May Day is a day that is given to us to observe it, and I believe that every public holiday should be observed accordingly, according to the statutory rights of every citizen, and also which, especially when the Interior Minister comes to issue a press, and also give us a comment that on this day is a public holiday. I believe that there should be law enforcers about that, because if it's a public holiday, it means that everybody that is in the country should observe it, with the exception of other institutions and other activities, especially like public transport should still be working, and also food vendors and all these, and the banks should not work. The workers should stay home.
I know a little about May Day. Actually, it's for workers. It's an international, or let me say, a workers' day. It tells how this country have acknowledged us.
May the holiday with the man who knows. Fisa me kura nye misusu re bi na ba ha no beka say wachena kura enne ya yetimu ye holiday enka me ba wan city kura me show samete he.
May Day is a day that we celebrate workers, and then the sort of struggle they've been going through, and this day has been put aside for us to use and rest and then visit our loved ones, to sit down and remember the past and whatsoever. I'm encouraging each and everyone to work and work efficiently.
The Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Agyabeng, has appealed to persons living along the Kaswa through Cape Coast to Takoradi Highway not to be in hindrance of government's efforts to develop the stretch. His request to the chiefs and residents there comes in the wake of works on the highway which might affect properties near the road. He wants them to accept any compensation the government offers if their properties are affected by road construction works.
A visit to the central region is part of the minister's ongoing cross-country tour to inspect roads in the country. Speaking with GHOne News' Agyabeng, Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwame Agyabeng, reiterated the NDC government's commitment to improving roads in the country, urging chiefs and residents in the region to support government in its efforts.
The president, under the big push, we are supposed to do the road between Winneba and then Takoradi. It will be in different lots. We don't have enough resources. If we are going to use our tax money to build road, one of the critical things that impede the road project through built-up areas is compensation. The laws of Ghana demand that when you take somebody's property for public use, you compensate. But we are appealing to Nananum that, for instance, Winneba to Takoradi is a major project. It will surely affect some people's livelihood. But if it's not affecting your bedroom, where you sleep and other things, let's be flexible in agreeing on what the compensation should be.
District Chief Executive for Ejimoko Enyan SCM, Andrews Kojo-Duodu, assured relief, mentioning that all road projects in the district will be completed.
And then me take your office as District Chief Executive.
Today, I start my work as a GHOne DCE, which coincides with the visit of the Road Minister to inspect the deplorable roads in the central region. It is these roads that transport our food throughout Ghana for sale. When the roads are fixed, it will benefit us and it will make us happy.
Duodu assured constituents that the NDC government is development focused and will prioritise the construction of critical roads to ease movement and boost economic activities.
Time to bring you the latest in our world of business now. Business. Ghana is exploring the use of ziplines drone delivery technology beyond medical supplies to include the transportation of agricultural inputs, electoral materials, and other essentials to remote communities. The Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Emmanuel Agyabeng, announced this during a working tour of Zipline's operations hub in Omenako, Eastern Region. He believes that integrating such tech-driven solutions can significantly cut delays, reduce cost, and improve efficiency in critical national operations.
As part of efforts to assess and support technology-driven companies in Ghana, Emmanuel Agyabeng is embarking on a week-long nationwide tour to engage innovators and identify ways to scale their solutions for national development. At Zipline's headquarters, the minister highlighted the potential for applying the company's delivery model to agriculture and electoral logistics.
We can begin to look at what we can do in the space of agriculture for our farmers as well. We've got cocoa farms that are in very hard-to-reach areas because the road network is not very good. And they may need some pesticides, some weedicides. Can we readapt this whole process for that? When it comes to elections, for example, in some of the hard, difficult-to-reach areas where we have to deploy, currently we deploy the Ghana Armed Forces, the Air Force, to do deliveries using helis and all of that. If some of those material could be delivered via drone, if we mapped out the locations for the Electoral Commission, I think that this would be more cost-effective.
The minister, who invested 15,000 Ghana cedis in crowdfunding initiative for farming on a Ghanaian agricultural value chain app, Grow For Me, urges all to follow suit to promote local content as he vouches for their authenticity and reliability.
What Grow For Me is doing in crowdfunding and being able to allow persons. Today, I became officially the first digital minister to involve in crowdfunding for agric. Is going to support farmers, most likely women, who have young children. That money is going to help them buy the fertilizer and inputs to plant in this farming season soybeans and be able to get some money to pay their kids' school fees. And so I've impacted the lives of some people I don't know who will run 3 acres of farms. But the beauty of it is that in a year's time, I will get my money back with interest.
Companies visited on the third day of the tour include Zipline, Grow For Me, Shark Express, and Huawei Telecommunications, which is expected to train 100,000 coders over the next 4 years as part of the 1 million coders program.
Trying to train a million.
Let's now bring you the sports news. Yao Ampofo-Ankra, Director General of the National Sports Authority, has initiated a Staff of the Month award for workers at the authority to recognize their good work. Mr. Ankra launched the initiative as a staff Durbar of the authority at the Accra Sports Stadium, where the first awardee, Kweku Bempongando, was recognized. Speaking at a presentation ceremony, Mr. Ampofo-Ankra emphasized the need to bring to light the many positives of the Sports Authority.
And Staff of the Month is something very common in many organizations and institutions. In football, we have Player of the Month, Coach of the Month. So in an institution like the NSA, having a Work of the Month is long overdue. And also the concentration on negative, as negative as it is or it was, it reminds you that we need to choose what we put out there, especially when it's not true. So what is true is that I've come to meet a lot of hardworking young men and women, senior men and women as well, and I'm just showing respect to them. They've shown me a lot of respect at the first month. I hope it continues, and I'm just showing them respect and acknowledging the work that they're doing. So it will continue in all regions where NSA is operating. So this is the first of many. I think it's long overdue.
Mr. Ankra then announced the May Day Health, Fitness and Wellness Walk scheduled to happen today, Thursday at 6 p.m.
On May Day, we will have it in the evening. In the evening to create a new buzz where we're trying to ignite, the commerce, business, nightlife. And it's in line with the reset agenda of our president. And it's also in line with the 24-hour economy, philosophy or initiative, which means that even after the day, business can continue. We can make a profit, we can make money, life goes on. It happens in most countries, and I don't see why Ghana should be left out. And it would also encourage a lot more lights in the system, because when people are gathered, they will need a lot of lights to work and operate. And that's the whole idea.
Let's now head to the entertainment zone. Ghanaian dancehall musician GHOne Amamensa, popularly known as Shatawale, has taken to social media to officially apologize and retract defamatory comments he made against artist manager Lawrence Nana Isiama Hansen, popularly known as Boo God, suggesting that artist manager had a hand in the 2014 murder of music producer Fene Kotri. There's more. In November 2022, Ghanaian dancehall musician GHOne Amamensa, popularly known as Shatawale, took to social media to accuse his former manager, Lawrence Nana Isiama Hansen, known in showbiz circles as Boo God, of being involved in the death of Fene Kotri, the late manager of rapper Kwao Kese. In response to the serious allegation, Boo God filed a defamation suit at the Accra High Court seeking damages and a public retraction. The parties later reached an out-of-court settlement which was adopted by the court. As part of the settlement terms, Shatawale was expected to issue a formal public apology and pay agreed legal fees. However, during an interview with Nana Romeo on Accra FM on February 19, 2025, Boo God revealed that while Shatawale had privately apologized, he had yet to issue the required public apology. Today, Shatawale has taken to his social media platforms to formally apologize and retract the defamatory statement. In a Facebook post, he admitted that his previous allegations were false and expressed deep remorse for the harm caused. He acknowledged the gravity of the accusation and extended an unreserved apology to Boo God, his family, and all those affected by his earlier claims. Let's now do international news. Authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo are seeking to lift former President Joseph Kabila's immunity from prosecution after accusing him of backing rebels in the east. There was a substantial body of evidence linking Kabila to the M23 armed group, Justice Minister Constant Mutuba said earlier. The M23 currently controls parts of the mineral-rich east of the country after making significant advances earlier this year. Kabila, who is 53, has not commented on the accusations but has in the past denied any connection with the insurgents. He led DR Congo for 18 years after succeeding his father Laurent, who was shot dead in 2001. Joseph Kabila was just 29 at the time. News reports coming in that a Kenyan member of parliament has been shot dead in the streets of the capital, Nairobi, by gunmen on a motorcycle in a suspected assassination. Police said the attackers had been trailing the MP's vehicle before one of them got off the motorbike and shot him at close range. The nature of this crime appears to be both targeted and predetermined, a police spokesperson said on a statement. The opposition MP had 2 months ago complained about threats to his life, local media had said. After the shooting late Wednesday, his driver and bodyguard, both unhurt, managed to rush the injured MP to Nairobi Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. And that does it for Newsroom today on GHOne TV. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Have a wonderful May Day afternoon.